Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the You Got the Ron Dude podcast. I'm your host, Ron Jammin. Thank you very much for tuning in. This episode going to be reviewing the teaser trailer for Dune Part 3. I gotta say, what an amazing trailer. I was blown away by it. I watched it twice. First time, and then the second time, I pause it along the way and write down first what I remembered from the first viewing, and then on the second watch, I write down other notes. But a lot to go over. So I cannot wait for this. December 18th, 2026. December, interesting time for this movie. Figure more Christmas movies. This I would put out May, June. Summer blockbuster. But we'll see. Anyways, let's get into it. Well, with Dune Part 2, I'm like, okay, not a great title, nothing epic about it. And then with this one, I was worried, it'd just be called Dune Part 3. And so far, that's what it's called. Very underwhelming. The epic conclusion. Now, we've seen that before, and it worked with the Dark Knight trilogy. Because the Dark Knight, the second installment, still one of the best comic book movies and movies in general, as far as ratings go. With this one, I don't know, it looks really good. I mean, that's a heck of a teaser trailer. A lot of action. Apparently there's a time jump 17 years ahead. I haven't read the book. My dad actually let me borrow it a while back, but I haven't gotten around to reading it. And I'm not going to until I watch this one. Because apparently it's a conclusion, which is kind of underwhelming because I figured they'd keep going with these movies. I've been told that the book gets weird or odd as it goes on, but it's like, okay, but that's subjective. But maybe the conclusion for this trilogy? I guess we'll see. But I'm hoping they have, like Dune, War of something. Something more exciting in that, especially with an epic conclusion. But it still looks really good. Well, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Dune Part 2. The ending, by the way, is one of my favorite movie endings. After Paul has his victory and the Holy War begins, the music, the words spoken, everything, just a great setup for Part 3. And my favorite part of the whole movie, in fact. There's a lot of good stuff, but that definitely stood out. But spoiler as far as Zendaya's character, Chani, at the end, she actually leaves Paul and team, takes off, to the desert, summons a ride. But when you see the trailer for Part 3, it's like that never happened. So I don't know if there's a big time jump in between these movies. I think it takes place later on in Part 3. Maybe Paul with his shaved head. But I'm curious what brings her back to him. Maybe she tries to escape and she gets captured and he has to rescue her. Again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. But it's fun to speculate, though. But if he goes looking for her, I'm not sure. But I guess we'll see. I remember after seeing Dune Part 2 in theaters, I said, the Holy War better not be a little montage at the beginning of 3. I want to see this thing, in its entirety. But the 17-year time jump kind of concerns me. Because if it is just a montage, I mean, heck, if it's the first 20 minutes of the movie or 30 minutes, then I'll be like, okay, because that is a lot of action. And then they jump ahead. But from the trailer, it seems to be the focus of the movie, which I like. Especially for Part 3, because for some reason with trilogies, sometimes they'll introduce a bunch of new characters. And it's like, this is the last one. What are you doing? Now, again, to reference the Dark Knight trilogy, Nolan did a great job. because each movie is very different. In the third one, we had some new characters and it all worked. So I have faith, but yeah, the action looks incredible, and I can't wait to see it. Well, it looks like Duncan, Idaho is back. And when I first saw it, I was confused because I was like, well, this could be a flashback. But then upon the second viewing, it was hard to tell. It looked like he was fighting Paul Atreides, with his head not completely shaved, but, for the most part. So I'm wondering if Duncan is a hologram, maybe a training program. Could be a flashback. Or I heard that at one point he was cloned. And you figure, well, call this the Holy Clone War. But it's exciting, though, because we didn't really get to spend a lot of time with Jason Momoa's character in the first one. And he had a good death scene. But I'm curious, because there seems to be, a bit of hype about that. Because if they don't follow the book, it's like, well, movies tend not to. They have creative differences, different ideas and that, and they don't want it to be predictable. But I'm curious what you think, so make sure to leave a comment. I'd like to hear from you. And if they did clone him, hopefully they'll explain everything. Like there's probably a clone facility like in Star Wars. And then why wait to unleash all of them? And does the original know that he was cloned? Would they have cloned other warriors? Maybe everyone's a clone, heck. Well, another one of my favorite parts about Dune Part 2 was Austin Butler as Fade. That guy is a beast. He's one of the greatest character actors of our time. Of any time, really. That guy can play anything. And as much as I like to fight with him and Paul at the end, it was certainly better than the one at the end of Dune, the first movie. That one, I didn't like the way it was shot. The camera moved a little too much. And the fight was okay. It didn't ruin anything, but it was just underwhelming. But in Part 2, it was a big step up. And I was kind of hoping that both would survive, or that Fade was cloned, maybe like Duncan. Because I'm like, I would have saved that character for Part 3. Imagine an army of clones of Duncan and Fade. But when I saw Robert Pattinson, something about no eyebrows on a character makes him so menacing. I don't know why. That John Panette bit, he talks about when you have no eyebrows, and it's like, kids, get out of the pool, he has no eyebrows. Not to make fun of people who have a condition or something, it's just, for some reason, that brow with no hair, But Robert's character gave me Fade vibes. And curious, I read that his character wants to dethrone Paul. And it's like, well, there are probably a lot of characters like that. But we shall see. But Robert, yeah, he looks great in the role, whatever character he's playing. Well, I really like that, I'm going to butcher his name, but Denis Villeneuve. Hopefully that's close enough. I like that he directed all three of these. And if there's more, hopefully he gets to direct them. Because, I talked earlier about trilogies and, like Nolan with The Dark Knight. It's like, well, that's his trilogy. And the story's easy to follow. Because sometimes with different directors, you have different visions. Some mess with the timeline. Some just axe characters, introduce new ones. And it's just a different vision. Just like the recent Star Wars trilogy. Like each movie is good on its own, but they just don't fit into the same puzzle. They're three pieces, but it's like these don't connect. But even though, the first Dune, it's a great movie. Like these you have to watch on the big screen. You really do. Because you can just get lost in these movies and, they breathe very slowly, epic, Not boring though, which is hard to do when you have a lot of, slow moving shots and that, and times to reflect on things. But Dune Part 2, I think, was a big step up. But the first Dune still has a lot of good stuff. And I think 3 is going to do really well. Now, I know Timothy Chalamet, he's had some controversy. I can't keep up with all this. There's so many award shows, so much controversy, and he's also done a lot of work since the first Dune movie. So you worry about overexposure, but I just saw this trailer and I was like, this looks great. That's my focus. Because, a lot of big names in the movie, and you never know with cancel culture. But, not making excuses or anything. I really can't keep up with everything. There's always something going on. And I haven't seen Marty Supreme. I actually had to look up what it was about. I had no idea. It's like a ping pong tournament. But yeah, anyways, I'm glad that Dennis got to direct the whole trilogy. And we'll see what happens after this one, because I imagine I can picture doing, $1 billion in the box office. So then I'm sure the studio will be like, you got to give us more. They can do more time leaps and whatever, or even do I don't know, maybe a prequel. I remember when I watched the second one, I love the balance between, our heroes and the Harkonnen. I was like, that Harkonnen stuff is really interesting. I think Dave Bautista, that was a great role for him. The fight with him and Josh Brolin's character towards the end of the second one was really short, like way too short. A few moves and that was it. That should have been like at least, 2 minutes, but Dave just killed it in that role. And the Baron as well. Kind of got Brando vibes from that, especially the voice. But yeah, this third one just looks incredible. And I'm curious what they're going to do different from the book. And like I said, I'll read that after I see the third one. But anyways, thanks for listening. And podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And subscribe, share, like, rate, review, follow, all that fun stuff. I'd love to hear from you, so leave some comments. And I'll see you next time, and I'll be reviewing any and all trailers and clips that come out, so stay tuned. Thanks for listening.